Welcome back to our channel for your daily dose of Port Charles drama. Today is a beautiful day to dive into the most explosive secrets rocking General Hospital. We have a massive, game-changing spoiler that will leave you absolutely Grab your favorite drink, buckle up, and let's get straight into the shocking twists headed your way. The angelic, meticulously crafted facade of Congresswoman Willow is about to shatter into a million bloody pieces. Forget the sweet, compassionate nurse, the devoted mother, and the dedicated public servant that Port Charles has come to adore. The town is about to witness the terrifying birth of a cold-blooded, calculating killer. The sterile, quiet walls of Turning Woods are about to serve as the gruesome backdrop for a horrifying execution, and the victim is none other than her own husband, Drew Kane. The stakes have never been higher, and the impending doom is absolutely palpable. Get ready for a brutal murder that will completely rewrite the history of General Hospital. For agonizing months, Willow has flawlessly played the role of the grieving, devoted wife, hovering over Drew's paralyzed, unresponsive body with perfectly timed tears. But behind those wide, innocent eyes lies a deeply sinister and sociopathic. She is the sole architect of his unimaginable suffering, ruthlessly dosing him with a highly restricted paralytic to mimic a massive stroke and induce a terrifying state of locked-in syndrome. She held his life in her hands, silencing him to protect her own dark machinations. But the human body is incredibly resilient, and Drew Kane, a former Navy SEAL, is a relentless fighter. The paralytic is finally wearing off. The horrifying reality hits Willow like a runaway freight train when she notices the undeniable signs of his physical recovery. It starts small, a subtle twitch of the finger, a slight shift in his posture, a flicker of desperate awareness in his eyes. Then, the realization dawns on her with sickening clarity. Drew is waking up. The paralysis is fading, and the man she has tortured is regaining his mobility. He is trapped in a silent scream, but his gaze locks onto hers, burning with the knowledge of exactly what she has done to him. He knows she is his tormentor, and the clock is ticking down to her ultimate exposure. The sheer, unadulterated panic coursing through Willow's veins is intoxicating and dangerous. If Drew regains his speech and his strength, her entire world implodes in a catastrophic. She isn't just a disgraced, abusive wife. She is a newly minted congresswoman and the proud, powerful occupant of the coveted 16th seat on the General Hospital Board of Directors. Her reputation, her political power, her freedom, and her pristine public image, everything she has ruthlessly clawed her way to achieve, is balancing precariously on the edge of a knife. The thought of losing it all, of being dragged out of her mansion in handcuffs and exposed as a monstrous abuser, pushes her completely over the edge of sanity. In the sterile, suffocatingly quiet confines of his Turning Woods suite, the air grows thick with impending tragedy. Willow stands over Drew's bed, her heart pounding a frantic, deafening rhythm against her rib. She looks down at the man she once loved, the man she is legally bound to, and feels absolutely nothing but a chilling, ice-cold resolve. The decision is made in a split second of pure, unadulterated self-preservation, survival of the fittest. She reaches into her designer bag, her hands trembling not from guilt or remorse, but from the raw, surging adrenaline of the impending kill. She pulls out a massive, lethal dose of the paralytic drug. This isn't about keeping him quiet anymore. This is about silencing him forever. The scene unfolds in an agonizingly slow, macabre dance of death. Drew's eyes dart wildly, tracking her every terrifying movement. He is trapped in a useless, uncooperative shell, fully aware that his executioner is his own wife. The sheer terror and betrayal radiating from his eyes would be enough to break a normal person's conscience, but Willow is far past the point of no return. She steps closer to the bed, the syringe gleaming menacingly under the harsh fluorescent lights of the facility. She doesn't hesitate. She doesn't flinch. With cold, calculated precision, she plunges the needle directly into Drew's IV line, pushing the plunger down and sending the deadly cocktail surging directly into his bloodstream. The physical reaction is immediate, violent, and utterly catastrophic. Drew's body seizes as the massive overdose hits his system, his medical monitors screaming in a chaotic, deafening symphony of alarms. The lethal amount of the paralytic instantly triggers acute respiratory failure. His lungs paralyze completely, stripping him of his ability to draw breath. He is drowning in the open air, fighting a losing battle for a breath that will never come. The vibrant life drains from his eyes, quickly replaced by a hollow, haunting emptiness. Drew Kane, the resilient survivor who has overcome countless tragedies, dies not on a battlefield, but in a hospital bed, murdered in cold blood by the woman he trusted most. The ensuing chaos in the Turningwood suite is a masterclass in sociopathic manipulation. Doctors and nurses storm into the room, a flurry of desperate, frantic medical intervention. Defibrillators charge, CPR is aggressively administered, and oxygen is pumped, but it is all completely in vain. The flatline echoes endlessly through the room, a deafening declaration of Willow's ultimate sin. And right in the dead center of the storm is Willow Kane, delivering the theatrical performance of a lifetime. She collapses into a heap of hysterical, gut-wrenching sobs, screaming his name, clutching at the bedsheets with perfectly manicured desperation. She plays the devastated, heartbroken widow with sickening perfection. The medical staff, completely duped by her angelic tears and flawless performance, solemnly step back and pronounce his time of death. The official cause written on the chart? A massive, fatal recurrent stroke. For a fleeting, euphoric moment, Willow tastes absolute, untouchable victory. The threat is permanently eliminated. Her darkest secrets are buried 6 feet under, with Drew's lifeless body. She walks out of Turning Woods draped in the impenetrable armor of a grieving widow, receiving the sympathetic glances, warm hugs, and heartfelt condolences of everyone she passes in the corridors. Her congressional seat is secure. Her hospital board position is safe. She has committed the perfect murder and walked away completely unscathed. But the universe demands balance, and in the treacherous town of Port Charles, absolutely no secret stays buried forever. Willow's fatal mistake was not the murder itself, but the sheer arrogance and sloppiness of her execution. In her frantic rush to play the grieving widow and put on her hysterical show for the doctors, she made a catastrophic, amateur error. A single piece of damning evidence was left behind in the chaotic aftermath of the Code Blue: the empty vial. The glass vessel that held the instrument of Drew's demise was carelessly tossed into the medical waste bin in his room. A small, seemingly insignificant detail that is about to become the explosive catalyst for her total destruction. Enter Elizabeth Baldwin, head nurse, fiercely protective, and possessing a medical intuition that borders on the supernatural. Elizabeth was already deeply, undeniably suspicious. She had already connected the dangerous dots between Jack Brennan's miraculous overnight recovery from a supposed locked-in stroke and Drew's identical baffling condition. She knew in her gut that something was medically impossible, that these men were being manipulated. As she helps the staff clear Drew's room, her sharp, trained eyes catch a glint of glass in the red biohazard bin. She fishes it out, and the label on the empty vial sends a shockwave of pure ice down her spine. It is a highly restricted, incredibly potent paralytic. A drug that had absolutely no business being anywhere near Drew Kane's room, let alone in his medical waste. The puzzle pieces snap together in Elizabeth's brilliant mind, with terrifying, undeniable clarity. Drew didn't have a recurrent stroke. He was murdered. And the only person alone with him when the alarm sounded, the only person hovering over his IV line, was his supposedly heartbroken, devastated wife. Elizabeth vividly remembers Willow's desperate attempts to control Drew's medical care, her constant hovering presence, and her strange defensive reactions whenever his potential recovery was mentioned. The sickening, horrifying truth washes over Elizabeth like a bucket of ice water. Congresswoman Willow Kane is a cold-blooded, calculating killer. The angelic, sweet facade is a meticulously crafted mask hiding a ruthless, sociopathic mind. But Elizabeth doesn't just walk away. She goes to outright war. Armed with the empty vial and her unshakable conviction, she launches a stealthy, high-stakes internal investigation at General Hospital. She knows she cannot just publicly accuse a powerful congresswoman and newly appointed board member without ironclad, undeniable proof. She begins quietly digging into the pharmacy logs, cross-referencing access codes, and tracking every single move Willow made within the hospital wall. The tension in the halls of General Hospital becomes razor-sharp and suffocating. Every time Elizabeth looks at Willow in the corridors, the unspoken accusation hangs heavy and dangerous. Willow, highly attuned to threats, can feel the intense scrutiny burning into her back. The paranoia begins to set in, slowly chipping away at her icy, confident resolve. She thought she had committed the perfect crime, but she's completely unaware of the furious, unstoppable storm Elizabeth Baldwin is brewing right under her nose. The impending clash between the righteous, determined head nurse and the murderous, desperate congresswoman promises to be the most explosive, destructive showdown of the entire summer. How far will Willow go when she finally realizes Elizabeth is on to her deadly scheme? Will she attempt to silence the head nurse just as ruthlessly as she silenced her own husband? Or will Elizabeth Baldwin finally rip the mask off Port Charles's most deceptive, venomous villain and expose the bloody, horrifying truth to the world? The countdown to absolute destruction has officially begun, and nobody in the hospital is safe from the impending fallout. Will Willow Kane rot in a Pentonville cell, or will she claim another innocent victim to keep her bloody crown? Drop your wildest, most explosive predictions in the comments below, because the drama is just getting started and you will not want to miss a single second.